$10.5 million in cuts and counting. What's on the chopping block at Wake County Public Schools and how educators are pushing back.
Warmer weather is on the way. How hot it gets, plus the chance we'll see showers.
Then state lawmakers reach a deal on Medicaid just weeks before the program is set to run out of money. How much more the state will spend and the caveats that come with it. And we hear from outgoing Senate leader Phil Berger for the first time since losing the Republican primary, why he thinks Democrats are the reason he lost. School budgets, healthcare deals, politics, downtown development, drinking water, and kids inventing stuff for space travel. We got it all for you tonight. Thanks for being here at 7 o'clock. I'm Ashley Rowe. We want you to weigh in on anything you see in this newscast. So please send an email to 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. We read all of your feedback, your questions, your comments. We might even get to a few of them at the end of this show. First up tonight, a major decision in front of the Wake County School Board, a plan that could cut programs and jobs to save millions of dollars. Teachers and staffers are showing up outside the school board meeting tonight in protest. Let's bring you live now to that meeting. It's still underway in Cary. WRAL's Eric Miller is there. Eric, walk us through the different plans on the table here and what the conversation has been like so far.
Well, Ashley, just in the last hour, we have heard teacher after teacher step up to the lectern here inside this Board of Ed meeting and address the school board. One striking visual from these teachers who you can see they're still here. They're still gathered outside. They just started singing here. But one very striking visual from this meeting were jars full of cotton balls. These teachers said each one of those balls symbolized an hour of overtime that they worked and were not paid for. They said this shows just how stretched they already are, even before talking about these cuts. So what is on the table here? Just this afternoon, Superintendent Robert Taylor has proposed about $10.5 million worth of cuts. This is money that would have gone towards anything from assistant superintendents to some specialty high school teachers like art teachers. This is on top of more than $5 million in cuts that Taylor had proposed 2 weeks ago. Now, talking to teachers out here, they're worried not only for their jobs, but their students as well.
They're not considering the students first. Students have to be considered first. Families have to be, their voices have to be heard, regardless of our budget.
Now, district leaders say they are in a really difficult position here. While the overall budget for next year is still expected to go up, expenses have also been going up as well. District leaders say they're really getting squeezed by things like rising employment costs, and that means, in their opinion, they have to cut somewhere.
And there's another layer, Eric, to all of this. State lawmakers returned to Raleigh today for the short session, and a major piece of that will be a proposal to cap property taxes statewide. How much does that factor into what the school board is discussing tonight?
Actually, the school board is really aware of that. You know, if you talk to these teachers, they're with the North Carolina Association of Educators. They want the school board to go to the county and have the county essentially fill the gap here, provide more funding. The issue is that funding has to come from somewhere, potentially from property taxes. Now, that's something that the school board is really worried about because any increase in property taxes, they feel could add fuel to the fire as Republican lawmakers are looking at trying to put a cap on how much counties can raise these property tax rates. One school board member several weeks ago essentially compared it to killing the goose that laid the golden egg. So the school board, they are very concerned about this. They kind of find themselves caught between a rock and a hard place here as they try to figure out what exactly this budget is going to be. They're not expected to vote here tonight, but this is a difficult decision they're going to be working on in the weeks ahead.
Oh, boy. Okay. Eric, thank you for breaking it all down for us. Story happening right now at 7 o'clock. State lawmakers appear to have reached a deal on funding Medicaid in North Carolina. Brian Schrader, this one is huge. Just in time. The deadline was just a couple of weeks away.
Talking about millions of North Carolinians who could have lost their Medicaid benefits. The short session started at the General Assembly today, and House Speaker Destin Hall announced a deal with the State Senate that would fund Medicaid through the rest of the fiscal year, $319 million. But it also includes measures that are designed to tackle waste, fraud, and abuse. That includes more frequent eligibility reviews for people who are on Medicaid, and it asks the state auditor's office to do a comprehensive audit of North Carolina's Medicaid program. This bill also includes more than $100 million in other funding, including for prisons, the DMV, and the SBI. A vote could come as early as tomorrow.
I think that Democrats like to vote in some Republican primaries. That is your quote of the day, coming from North Carolina Senate Leader Phil Berger. Today was the first time we've heard from him since he lost the Republican primary. Rockingham County Sheriff Sam Page won by 23 votes, and apparently Berger thinks Democrats are to blame for that. WRAL state government reporter Paul Spey was there when Berger spoke. I asked him about those comments. Paul, this is the first time that reporters have had a chance to really speak with Phil Berger since he conceded in the primary election. What did he have to say?
Right. Well, he was asked, this is the first Republican primary I think he's ever lost. What message did that send? And he seemed to suggest that it was his opponents who got involved in this race to sort of oust him from this position. Listen to what he said.
I think that Democrats like to vote in some Republican primaries. I think that's the message.
So he thinks that Democrats voted for his primary challenger, Sam Page, and he wants to change election laws because of this?
Well, in North Carolina, if you're an unaffiliated voter, you can pick which party's primary to vote in. He didn't really talk about that so much, but he did say he wonders if the early voting period is too long in party primaries. And here's what he said.
But certainly in the primary, 17 days of early voting just seemed pretty excessive, and it really stresses the local boards of elections and finding the people to man the offices and those sorts of things.
It was interesting that Berger never decided to follow through with his challenges and instead conceded in this primary election. Why was that?
Right. He had asked for the State Board of Elections to look at 220 ballots, give or take, saying that there were some undervotes there. Maybe some votes didn't get counted. People asked him today on the floor, how do you feel about that? He didn't show much emotion.
I requested the things that the law would allow us to request. The board made a decision. That decision is accepted by me. It's a done deal, finished, over with.
There are a bunch of other things he said that he wants to address, but his top priority is keeping North Carolina #1 for business in this country. It seems like that's what he wants to be known for before he leaves office.
All right, Paul Spey, thank you. As Paul said, Berger spoke about a whole lot more than just his loss in the primary election. He spoke about the funding of Medicaid, the proposal to give property tax power to the state, and the state budget as well. You can find all of that in the NC Capitol section of WRAL.com. Let's move on now to a story about how our area keeps changing. Something new is always being built around here, so it's time for a developing story. In a few years, the southern part of downtown Raleigh will look a lot different. Today, crews broke ground on a new Omni Hotel. It was a whole lot of pomp and circumstance. Did you see that? Shaw University marching band showing up. Here's the renderings of what the new hotel might look like, going in right next door to the new Red Hat Amphitheater and the new Raleigh Convention Center. It's a whole lot of new down there, and taxpayers are helping pay for some of it. The city is putting up $75 million for the hotel's public amenities. To get a better sense of what that money is paying for and why the city wants all of this change, I took a trip downtown with WRAL's Flynn Snyder. Flynn, it was quite the presentation today. They had Shaw University band out. They had the Carolina Ballet Company's dancers out showcasing the groundbreaking of this new Omni Hotel. Tell us about this hotel, what we can expect in a couple of years.
So a 600-room hotel set to open sometime in 2028. This is really an effort from the city to expand their capacity downtown for larger conventions. You have this massive hotel going up right across the street from the convention center, which is also getting expanded right now. The mayor says the city city wants to bring in larger, bigger events, and this is the way that they can do that.
They've already got the Marriott Hotel right here. They've also got a Residence Inn just next door to the convention center. As they get ready for this expansion with the convention center, they need more hotel rooms in order to be able to host more events. So all of that makes sense. For the folks who are local, who are watching this and maybe going, well, great, there's another hotel. Why should I care? They're really saying this is going to help elevate the downtown. What kind of stuff did you hear today about that?
Yeah, part of a revitalization they're trying to do for this part of downtown. Omni, we heard from a lot of people saying that it was a premium brand and it's going to bring premium amenities along with it, a high-end steakhouse, coffee shop as well. So they're really hoping that, yes, they need a hotel, but they also want a specific type of hotel that's going to bring in a certain brand and help elevate this area.
We also have to talk about how this is all happening around the same time as the Red Hat Amphitheater expansion. So we've got the convention center expanding. We've got the relocation of the Red Hat Amphitheater, which is going to be able to seat more people. Plus, we've got this 600-room hotel. I mean, what are you expecting in the next couple of years as far as just tide will rise all boats, as you like to say?
Yeah, so I mean, the mayor really talked about how it's all about bringing in more visitors, more conventions, meaning more money for downtown. That's really the ultimate goal here. You talked about the hotel convention center and also Red Hat Amphitheater, which is being moved. It's being made bigger. This is the final season right now at the current venue. So you're really seeing those three major projects in an effort to bring in those larger venues or larger groups, more money hopefully, and hopefully elevate the downtown area in this park.
You know, when I was chatting with the head of the Downtown Raleigh Alliance, Bill King, he was saying that there are so many mom and pop shops, there are so many restaurants that are just desperate for more visitors and desperate for more people because as they rely on people who are coming into the downtown core, they can't just rely on locals.
Right, and that foot traffic too, right? I mean, you're right across the street from the convention center and what will eventually be the new spot of the Red Hat Amphitheater. So they're really relying on this location as well to help bring that in.
When can we expect this to be done?
2028, they're hoping. Obviously, the groundbreaking today is at about 2 years' time.
All right, Flynn, thank you.
Good.
7 o'clock. After the break, a heated meeting in Raleigh about drinking water.
And you have the power to protect my son. You have an obligation. Do your jobs.
Why they think a state plan to reduce water pollution just isn't enough. Plus, stick around for tonight's One Last Thing. A group of 7 p.m. super kids. Elementary school students have a winning invention for astronauts. Kat?
And the temperature roller coaster continues. Temperatures are going to climb back near 90 degrees, but I'm tracking our next cold front that will follow and could bring a little rain coming up.
Between development and public safety, there is a lot to talk about when it comes to Durham's future. The mayor is giving his State of the City address tonight. We're going to see how his remarks stack up with what residents say. That story is coming up tonight on WRAL News at 11. There's a proposal on the table to reduce pollution in North Carolina's drinking water, particularly those forever chemicals like PFAS. But critics say the plan is not enough, that there are no limits or penalties. And those concerns came up during a hearing in Raleigh. Things got heated. Here's WRAL environment reporter Liz McLaughlin.
Can we say water is life? Water is life.
There was a standing room only crowd in Raleigh Monday night, with speaker after speaker pushing back on the state's plan to address PFAS, chemicals linked to cancer and other health risks.
Contamination needs to stop. Perpetrators need to be penalized. We need real action and health-based protection.
The proposal from the Environmental Management Commission would require companies to monitor pollution and come up with plans to reduce it. But it would not set enforceable limits or penalties if pollution continues.
We know that these chemicals can be kept out at the source, and we know how to do that. And these rules are just not that. And so we need our EMC to step up and to protect us.
Engineers and scientists also spoke, including Detlef Knappe, who helped uncover PFAS contamination from Comores in the Cape Fear River nearly a decade ago. He says the plan falls short, focusing on just 3 types of PFAS, even though 2 have been phased out of production since the early 2000s.
So the focus really needs to be on PFAS that are currently used by industry.
Contamination is already in drinking water systems across the state, and in some communities, ratepayers are already footing the bill to clean it up.
And you have the power to protect my son, to protect all of our children, to protect unborn children in this room. You have an obligation. Do your jobs.
Commissioners called the proposal a first step in reducing pollution and pointed to costs, saying stricter limits could be expensive for companies to implement. But critics say without firm limits, pollution and the cost will continue downstream. Liz McLaughlin, WRAL News.
So another public hearing is scheduled Thursday night in Wilmington. And don't forget, written comments can also be submitted through June 15th. WRAL's Doc Unit has done a whole lot of reporting on drinking water in our state. The documentary is called Forever Chemicals, North Carolina's Toxic Tap Water. You can find it on the WRAL YouTube page. Just search Forever Chemicals. Kat?
And we're already tracking the weekend system because it could bring some rain our way. So I know it's only Tuesday and we're already talking about the weekend here, but this is what everybody wants to know. When is it going to rain again? We've got some 20% chances during the week, but Saturday night is going to be our best shot at rain. It's a 50% chance of rain Saturday night. Now, when you look at the weekend forecast face value, you don't see any raindrop icons. That's why I want to clarify this for you. We only have small chances for rain during the days this weekend. It's really Saturday night that looks the wettest. Remember, it's only Tuesday, so the timing could still shift a bit. Stay tuned for updates throughout the week. The good news is that we have rain in the forecast, but it doesn't look like it's going to interfere with the Komen Race for the Cure on Saturday. As the participants are getting ready for the race at 7 a.m., it'll be in the low 60s, so pretty comfortable. For the start, 65, and by 11 a.m., 71 degrees, partly cloudy and pretty nice out there. Not too humid either. High pressure has been in control of our local weather, keeping things dry, but chilly for us. This area of high pressure is going to be moving offshore tomorrow, and that's what's going to bring a warming wind out of the southwest into the forecast. This front here could bring an isolated shower to the northern part of our viewing area as we get into tomorrow evening. Now, you're not going to be able to see much on the radar, but just toward the North Carolina-Virginia line, there could be an isolated shower. A live look at the Gibson Play Plaza in Raleigh. It's a beautiful night out there. If you're headed out for an evening walk or dog walk, by 10 o'clock, temperatures dip into the upper 50s. And don't forget, tomorrow is Earth Day. It'll be cool in the morning, waking up to temps in the upper 40s. But by lunchtime, we are already in the 70s, and we warm all the way up from the 40s to the mid 80s tomorrow afternoon. So really gorgeous by the afternoon. And that's going to be the case. Your bus stop forecast throughout the week. 84 tomorrow afternoon, 86 as the kids head home on Thursday, and 88 on Friday. Just keep in mind it is going to be breezy throughout the day tomorrow, and that's all thanks to our warming wind kicking in. But we could see winds gusting 20 to 25 miles per hour with a sustained wind around 10 to 15 miles per hour. 86 Thursday, 88 on Friday, and then once we get to the cold front Saturday night, we'll start to see temperatures go down a bit Sunday. But that cold front isn't going to be quite as dramatic as the one early this week, and our cool down is fairly short-lived. Ashley.
All right, Kat, thank you. Hey, we have a pretty great episode of 7 p.m. Super Kids for you tonight. Meet the elementary school students who invented something to help astronauts in space. One last thing, and your feedback after the break. One last thing for you tonight. Here at 7 o'clock, we like to talk about the amazing things the kids in our community get up to. In Cumberland County, a group of students came up with an idea to help astronauts in space. It's time for another episode of
7 p.m.
Tonight's 7 p.m. Super Kids are from Warrenwood Elementary School in Fayetteville. Their idea involves a childhood favorite, Silly Putty, and it's all about helping astronauts exercise in space. The idea will take them from the classroom all the way to NASA's Kennedy Space Center this fall. These are the microgravity muscle makers from Warrenwood Elementary. They won the first place Judge's Choice at the 2026 Star Wars STEM Design Challenge, beating out students from across the county. These students came up with the idea of bringing putty into space. Astronauts can use the putty to exercise their hands because, as these kids explain it, astronauts can lose strength in microgravity.
We are sensing a therapy putty can be a small tool to help astronauts keep their hands and finger muscles strong.
Go ahead and pull it.
Little kids in lab coats hits every time. I caught up with a couple of students. Wyatt and Kaylee showed me their awesome medals and the putty. Next week, they'll go to NC State to test their theory in a microgravity simulation.
To see if it can go to space, we're going to actually have to test it out in space.
They have been working all year long on this project. Some of them have been coming in and working through their lunch session. And so it has been a great opportunity for them.
Later this year, they will present their results during a visit to Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida in October. They are amazing. Hey, some quick feedback from some of you watching at home tonight. Dave, thanks for writing in about the school board story tonight. He says, why not include the other side? Please showcase folks who represent the thousands of taxpayers who are fed up with annual property tax increases. I hear you, Dave. So here's an email from a viewer named Eddie. He wrote, glad the legislators are thinking about putting some guardrails on escalating property taxes. A viewer named Carmen disagrees, writing, this is probably a very bad idea. Local governments have a better grip on what services they provide and how to best make that work. Truly, your emails do fuel our content here at 7 o'clock. So please do send us an email. 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. We read them all. We'll try to respond to you, and we certainly try to get them to our show here at 7 o'clock. There's the email address. Have a great night. Thanks for watching here. WRAL News at 7. Good night.